Good evening and welcome to the Evening News for Saturday, September 13, 2014. I'm Petra Santos. Thank you for joining us. Making the headlines this evening, the PPPC awaits action on September 15. Canada, the UK and the US commit to aid GECOM. Joiner killed en route to ailing mother. And SAG observes annual Clean Up the World campaign. Now for the news in detail. The People's Progressive Party Civic is waiting with anticipation the action promised by opposition leader David Granger if President Donald Ramotar does not announce the date for the long overdue local government elections by September 15. The party's General Secretary Clement Rohi, speaking with this newscast during an exclusive interview on Friday, described the deadline issue by Granger as political, while expressing support for the president's decision to request that Granger's letter be further clarified, given the contradictions and ambiguities therein. The local diplomatic community is looking forward to a date being set for local government polls within the next few months. Let's find out why in this report.
Canadian High Commissioner Dr. Nicole Giles, British High Commissioner Andrew Eyre, and US Day Affairs Brian Hunt have said they eagerly await the day that President Donald Ramotar set a date for local government polls. President Ramotar was recently issued a September 15 ultimatum for setting the date for local government polls. Guyana has been without a local government election for more than 2 decades. Political and social activists have all made calls for the local government elections to be held as soon as possible.
This is something that we continue to expound upon because we believe that it's very important that local government elections are held, and certainly from the High Commission you can expect to see that continue.
I know far seagull, which I understand means I can't see into the future. I mean, it's my hope that there will be local elections within the next period of months. Of course it is. They're badly needed for all the reasons that Dr. Giles said. And reinvigorating local government in Guyana will reinvigorate the communities and reinvigorate most things here.
The Foreign Service officers noted that it is important that every democracy has local government elections. They contended that it is an integral part of democracy, but says it is up to the Guyanese populace to ensure that the elections are held as soon as possible.
What the United States wants to see is a democracy that delivers for the people of Guyana. It's up to the people of Guyana to determine the parameters of that democracy, the specific structures of that democracy, how it's going to go forward. But I think as my country judges how we're going to react to developments here, what assistance we're going to provide to the elected government and the people of Guyana, it's going to be very much driven by that fundamental question of whether the governing structures are delivering for the people of this country.
Local representatives of Canada, the United States and the UK have said they remain committed to free and fair elections and to helping the Guyana Elections Commission to deliver such. The details in this report.
As the possibility of an early election becomes more vivid, Foreign Service diplomats have reassured that they are committed to the conduct of free and fair polls in Guyana. This comes as Guyana's government is facing a no-confidence motion tabled by the Alliance for Change. If the motion is passed in the National Assembly, Parliament will have to be dissolved and a date named for elections within 3 months.
The Government of Canada will consider what is required on the basis of requests that we get, and we'll make our evaluation at that point in terms of the assistance that we're able to offer. But the Government of Canada, I can say definitively, will be heavily engaged in ensuring free, fair and peaceful elections in Guyana as we have in the past.
The UK looks forward to assisting GECOM to deliver a free, fair and peaceful election.
I think as most of you know, the United States already has an electoral support component as part of the leadership and democracy element of USAID. That element certainly will support the conduct of free and fair elections here in Guyana, be they national or local. We'll work, as I've said numerous times, very closely with the Guyana Elections Commission as well as the government in delivering that assistance.
It was noted that the diplomats have ongoing discussions with GECOM, and when the need for aid arises, they will deliver accordingly. GECOM has been under intense scrutiny as of late from the People's Progressive Party, over thousands of dead persons appearing on the preliminary list of electors.
Traditionally, in emerging and developing countries and democracies such as Guyana, the donor community, of which Canada is a proud member, provides support for elections in a variety of ways. I think it's safe to say that you'll see a similar engagement. The High Commission of Canada has ongoing discussions with GECOM as part of our normal diplomatic interactions in this country, and we'll look forward to having more detailed discussions if and when an election date is set.
Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
Moments after leaving his place of employment to meet his ailing mother, a father of 3 was crushed to death on Friday afternoon in the vicinity of Pope Bridge Letham Trail, Region 9. Dead is Lindy Ambrose, 26, a joiner of Haiwa Village, Central Rupununi. He reportedly suffered severe head injuries and was pronounced dead on arrival at the Letham Hospital just about 1800 hours. According to information received, the joiner was heading home on his motorcycle when he collided with a Bedford truck that was turning at the time. Ambrose was reportedly in the process of overtaking the truck that was carrying several tanks filled with water. It is believed that Ambrose might not have seen the indicators of the vehicle due to the placement of the tanks. Despite wearing a helmet, his head was crushed. If you have a news tip or news story you would like our news team to follow, message or WhatsApp us on telephone numbers 680-9630, 600-3117 or 617-2867. You can also call us on our office numbers 231-0382, 226-2102, 223-7230 or 223-7231. Stay with us. More of the evening news after these messages. Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. In this report, you'll hear that the recently re-established Teaching Service Commission will see members holding strong against the reintegration of teachers who would have abruptly left the system. The details in this report.
After being sworn in on the Teaching Service Commission for another term, Chandrawati Leela Ramson said that the Commission will be looking to regularize the system by upholding strong to its no-return policy for teachers who would have left the system abruptly to migrate but return sometime after. Ramson told reporters that the Commission would be strictly adhering to the rules since teachers usually abuse the system.
The rules are rules. If you walk out, you just leave your job and you walk out. And some people walk out after 21, 25 years of service thinking the grass is greener out there. And then when they go there, they realize it's not green. They come back and they lose their job. They're dismissed. You must give your month notice. If you're a junior teacher, if you're a head, you have to give 3 months notice.
However, she noted that those who follow the procedure are giving a second chance upon their return. Meanwhile, touching on the topic of disciplinary actions against teachers, Ramson said that the amount of teachers being disciplined is relatively low. However, she noted that most of the disciplinary cases are for punctuality.
Punctuality is a big issue in schools. And we are looking at that. The ministry is sending a lot of their teachers over to be disciplined for punctuality. And I feel when teachers shortchange the children, they need to be disciplined.
According to Ramson, other problems that teachers are brought before the Commission for Disciplinary Actions includes marking of textbooks, rude attitude to head teachers, and failure to upgrade themselves by attending college. She added that sexual complaints against teachers are also another problem. However, it is not prevalent. The Teaching Service Commission members said that the Commission tries to give teachers a second chance and not execute disciplinary actions on the first instance. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchan.
As investigations into a scam at the Central Housing and Planning Authority continue, Housing Minister Irfaan Ali today promised to forgive and forget persons who come forward with information. Here are the details.
Housing Minister Irfaan Ali today said that thus far 49 persons have been identified in a scam at the Housing Ministry. The scam saw persons alleging that they are relatives and associates of Housing Ministry personnel, including Minister Ali. Some even operated as staff of the ministry, taking persons to various housing areas and identifying plots of land that are supposedly available to them.
There are some persons who we are investigating who would have tried to pay their way for expediting their application. We have those names. We have 49 persons on the investigation. If any of you here would have any way tried to fast track any application and in so doing did anything that is illegal in the delivery of a service by the ministry, I'm asking you to give that information to the staff this morning because we will get it.
Ali pointed out that persons that are involved in the scam can come forward and give information. He assured that such persons would be granted amnesty, but noted that if persons do not come forward, they can face the full brunt of the law.
Our internal system will catch every single crook. I guarantee you that. So if you give the information, then you have amnesty. We just need the information now.
The Guyana Police Force has since been called in to investigate the scam. It is unclear whether there have been any arrests thus far. For the Evening News, Jumo Paul.
In light of recent calls from the local envoys of the Western powers for Ghana to issue a statement of condemnation of Russia, the local Russian envoy says that such a statement is not needed. British High Commissioner to Ghana Andrew Eyre, Canadian High Commissioner to Ghana Dr. Nicole Giles, and United States Embassy Charge d'Affaires Brian Hunt on Thursday jointly condemned Russia's occupation of the Ukraine in the strongest possible terms. The trio said that while more pressure needs to be placed on Russia to end its occupation in Crimea, war is not the answer to the issue at hand. They said, too, that the Ghana government, which recently abstained on a UN vote against Russia, should issue a statement of condemnation and urge Russia to respect its neighbor's territory. This came as the European Union imposed new sanctions against Russia in an effort to pressure that country to end its occupation of Ukraine. Agriculture Minister Dr. Leslie Ramsamy says, contrary to popular belief, government has not abandoned the Grow More food campaign, but has instead sought to have it re-engineered. Here is more from Alexis Rodney.
The Grow More food campaign was first launched in 2008 under the stewardship of the then Agriculture Minister Robert Persaud. Because of the changing economic situation and the rising food prices, the objective of the campaign at that time was to encourage locals to help sustain themselves by growing traditional foods that were sought after in the market.
It was meant for those who are selling in our markets to grow some more, not just more of a product, but a greater variety. And in addition to that, he was saying that for families who go to the market and you are not growing anything in your yard, grow some so that you reduce what you take out of your pocket.
While that objective has been realized somewhat, Minister Ramsamy said that the campaign will now take on a whole new dimension, with individuals being encouraged to continue growing food with the intention of monitoring and sustaining the economy. Another dimension of the new Grow More food campaign is the hope of being able to produce feeds for stock. Ramsamy said that Guyana is now producing all the chicken it needs. The problem now, however, is that about 70% of the production cost is consumed in the feeds for those livestock. The importation of 40 tons of corn and soya used as feed for local stocks cost government some $30 million. The Grow More food campaign seeks to meet those needs. Ramsamy related that Guyana has succeeded in this regard, announcing that the first crop of commercial soya, some 22.5 acres, will be harvested in a few days from now. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
In observance of the Clean Up the World environmental campaign, the Scouts Association of Ghana, along with a large contingent of youths, turned up on Saturday morning to conduct a cleanup exercise on Woolford Avenue. This year's campaign is being held under the theme Our Place, Our Planet, Our Responsibility, and saw the SAG teaming up with Hand in Hand Trust organization. According to a press release from SAG, U.S. Scout leader Derek Anderson, who is visiting for the event, said that the activities held locally are different from what they do. However, he noted that the experience here is rewarding as he lauded SAG for their efforts in cleanup campaign. This is the 6th year that SAG is participating in the campaign, which is aimed at inspiring communities around the world to clean up, fix up, and conserve the environment. Regionally, Secretary General of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, Erwin LaRocque, has urged CARICOM member states to redouble their efforts and commitment to adopting healthier lifestyles. In a message to mark Caribbean Wellness Day being observed annually on September 13, the Secretary General said the day is a reminder of a historic moment when our heads of government pioneered that significant policy initiative known as the Declaration of Port of Spain on non-communicable diseases. And international Ukrainian government troops say they have repelled an attack of pro-Russian rebels in Donetsk airport. All Saturday morning, gunfire was heard from the area controlled by government forces, despite rebel victories in the rest of the eastern city. Correspondents say the fresh violence is a big challenge to a fragile ceasefire agreed on September 5. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Prime Minister Arsen Yatsenyuk has accused Russia of wanting to eliminate his country. He said the Ukraine was in a stage of war and with the key aggressor being Russia. Yatsenyuk said the goal of the Russian President Vladimir Putin is to take over the entire Ukraine, adding that NATO was the only vehicle that could protect his country. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed at 5 hours on Sunday, September 14 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 6 hours 25 on Sunday, September 14 for a period of 1.5 hours. Stay with us, sport is next. Welcome back, and now for your sport headlines. Leon Johnson is the 300th West Indies Test player. Young footballers participate in Caribbean Wellness Day activities, and South African minister disappointed with Pistorius' ruling. This segment of sport is sponsored by Macorp.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Brit.
Guyanese batsman Leon Johnson became the 300th player to represent the West Indies in Test cricket when he made the starting 11 of the second Test against Bangladesh. The left-hander was presented with his cap by legendary former West Indies captain Clive Lloyd, who was recently appointed convener of selectors. Johnson opened the batting with Craig Brathwaite and immediately announced his arrival on the international scene, featuring in a partnership of 143 for the first wicket. Johnson made a solid 66 to become the 10th batsman to score a half-century on debut against Bangladesh. The match is also the West Indies' 500th in history since gaining Test status in 1928. Young footballers of the city today displayed their skills as part of activities to observe Caribbean Wellness Day 2014. Here is more from Avinash Ramzan.
Health Ministry official and director of the Petra organization, Marlon Cole, said he was entrusted with organizing the small competition to observe Caribbean Wellness Day 2014. Teams drawn from Georgetown participated in the competition, which had 2 semi-finals and a final, with the winner, runner-up and MVP receiving trophies. When TVG visited the venue, just opposite the Square of the Revolution, the youngsters were contesting the first game, which came down to penalties. According to Cole, the whole idea of putting together the competition was to enlighten persons of the importance of being involved in physical activities to halt the spread of non-communicable diseases.
So we decided to invite a Coach Speedway champion last year, who would be on the 13 this year, Santos, who normally uses ground, and a team from Rossville, all to demonstrate physical activities and playing and so, because some of the things to combat non-communicable disease is physical activity. Lack of physical activity is one of the reasons. So in order to promote health and wellness, we thought it best to, fix up this ground here in close proximity to the minister.
Caribbean Wellness Day is observed every second Saturday of September.
A South African minister has said the acquittal of athlete Oscar Pistorius of murdering his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp is extremely disappointing. The Minister of Basic Education told the BBC she thought the judgment was based on technicalities, not on facts. Steenkamp's parents have also said justice was not served. Judge Toko Zil Masipa found Pistorius guilty of a lesser charge of culpable homicide. She said the state had failed to prove Pistorius intended to kill. And that has brought us to the end of the evening news for today, Saturday, September 13, 2014. Please remember to get a copy of tomorrow's edition of the Ghana Times newspaper for details of these stories and other news. I'm Petrly Santos. Thank you for joining us.